you've done something that, I mean, you're in a position consistently where other coaches would look at and be like, wow, I wish I could do what he's done. And I think one of the things that's most impressive, that's always something that where I see a coach navigate this successfully. And by successfully, I mean keeping their integrity, keeping their keeping their wits about them. And that's the social media side. Right, like with what you guys have done with the podcast, honestly, I think in our space and the time you guys have done it is unprecedented. Like we put our stuff up the other day, and I'm going through and looking at this and being like, I mean, I've been in the podcast world for 8 years now. And I'm like, this is unprecedented traffic. This is unprecedented feedback, but let alone your own social media account. What was the conversation you had with yourself? Because again, this is, I think, just a diary from a successful coach to coaches kind of sitting on the ledge going like, how do I do this? What was the conversation with yourself when you're like, hey, I'm going to utilize social media to build a platform, to build a business and a brand and a podcast and credibility and products and training services. How did that start?
Well, first of all, that is very high praise. Thank you. Thank you. Those are all very kind words. So that really means a lot coming from you. Um, Dude, I wish I could say that it was all a part of a plan and I knew exactly what I was going to do and how it was going to happen. But the truth is I didn't know any of that. I knew that here's what happened. This is the origin story is David Gray went on the Just Fly Sports Performance podcast. You know who David Gray is?
David Gray Rehab. I've had him on the show
Just
as of a
checking.
couple months
Just
ago.
checking.
Legendary
I
David Gray.
love that motherfucker. I love him.
Incredible.
So he comes on Just Fly Sports Performance podcast, and at the time, I'm a S&C sponge. Everything about my life is obsessed with just getting good. I want to be the best trainer possible again because I needed to prove it to myself. Um, and I'm listening to the podcast, and David gets on, and he talks about some stuff I'd never heard before regarding patellar tendonitis, jumper's knee, and some other ways of improving knee function through co-contractions and intermuscular coordination and concepts that I had up until that point not heard of. Um, and so I slid in his DMs, and I said, "Can I work with you?" At this time, he had 2,000 followers on Instagram. Okay, and I start working with him one on one every week. He's in Ireland. He's coaching me up, queuing me up, and I'm getting better. And simultaneously, next to that, he puts out a product and he starts going on more podcasts. And then I'm seeing the content he's putting out, and it's useful and it's valuable and it's for a specific audience that he knows that he can have an impact on. And he's doing it in a way that's authentic and not new in the sense where it's like shock and awe or like something you haven't seen before, but it was just unique to David. So I'm watching this thing happen, and he just blows up, and rightfully so. His product sells out of fucking control, and the entire time he never changed who he was. Never. He's the same David the whole time. And I'm meeting with him, and I want to say maybe it's the beginning of COVID, and um, we're having conversation. He's like, "Tim, you have to start posting." He's like, "You're smart, dude. You can do something with this." And I'm like, "Dude, I don't know, you know." And he was like, "No, you're gonna do it. Here's what you're gonna do." So David ordered me. He said, "You're gonna post for 9 days in a row, no matter what. You're going to go to other people's pages that you like and take the pieces of the things they like, but you're gonna make it your own, and you're gonna start to create a message. And at the end of those 9 days, we'll see what happens." And dude, like that right there, just that, watching David's success. And then here's the other piece. I'm sitting on my phone and I see David blow up, and I'm like, God, I'm so happy to see this kind of guy blow up. You know, a real one, someone who isn't just making shit up or squatting only to 90 degrees and telling everybody that it's, um, anyway, so sorry. So And then I'm looking at other people like that, and I'm saying these people are making a lot of money. People are consuming their content, and people are taking what they're saying at face value. And I'm saying to myself, "What an idiot!" And then I had this light bulb moment where I said, "Oh my god, I don't think this person's smarter than me, but they're having a ton of success and they're living out their dreams just because they were willing to do what I'm too afraid to do, which is put myself out there, you know? This person's looking stupid on purpose and getting like having and living the life of their dreams. And and here I am on my phone on the fucking sidelines, you know, passing judgment. And it was the combination of those. I'm like, so who's the real idiot? Is it me who I think that I can actually make a difference, that I actually have a message, but I'm sitting here on my phone, rolling my eyes and saying, what a fucking moron? Like, that's not doing anything to help anybody. So David's success, him ordering me to just start no matter what, in combination with, quite frankly, being a little resentful that people who I felt like had no business having the levels of success they were having or perceived success, right? What is success? But those things that was like this, concoction of like what it took for me to sort of just take the leap. And then from there, Jordan, honestly, like I'm very blessed and fortunate that so many people like David saw something in me and gave me an opportunity. Now, I put myself in positions to have those opportunities, but I've had a lot of help. I've landed in good situations. But when I've gotten in those situations, I've fucking nailed it. So far, I haven't shit the bed yet, Like I said earlier, like had I gotten that job 2 years before, maybe I do. But it's been a lot about timing, and then growing my own brand. Like frankly, if training NFL players helps you grow an Instagram page, dude. Let's play devil's advocate. Let's say I was a fucking moron, and maybe I am. But like, let's say that I'm just a total moron. And I don't know my ass from a hole in the ground from training. My page is probably going to do pretty well, just because of the kind of person that I'm working with. I like to believe that because I'm also a decent coach and that I'm coming from a place where I'm genuinely trying to help people and I'm able to formulate that content in a way that I think resonates with people, my page has been able to grow, right? But when it comes to social media and like I know I'm ranting here, but side note, there are a lot of coaches who have big Instagram followings that work with high level athletes that are not great coaches. You know what they're good at? Communicating. They're good at building relationships. They're good at being at the right time. They knew a guy and they capitalized on all that stuff, right? When I got into performance, I saw that and I was like, oh my fucking God. I just assumed that because these people are working with high level people that they're high level coaches. Not true. And then, frankly, I think it gave me another edge, Jordan, because I cared about the training a lot and I could also communicate. And so from there, the Instagram really was like the launching pad. And then with Coach 'em Up, the podcast and building that brand, honestly, dude, I just want to learn from you. That's what it comes down to. I want to have Jordan fucking Shallow come to Collective for a weekend so we can throw around some weights. I want to talk shit with other coaches who like to do the same stuff as me. And then I want to hang out with them on a podcast, That's really, it's kind of just a like, if you told me, Tim, what could you do? Money, just blank check. What would you do? It would be, I'm working out with athletes and coaches, talking shit, and then recording that. Like that's what I would do as a sole vocation. And I would do the NFL offseason and train with the athletes on the side, right? Like those two things would work parallel. But that's how I would spend my time, hanging out with other coaches, recording that. And then crazy, it's like that's happening now. And I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed. And I know that was a really long ass answer. So I'm sorry if anyone fell asleep during that. Jordan is Canadian and way too kind to interrupt. But yeah, that's how that was the origin story. That's how it's transpired. And yeah, man, anyone who says that they're self-made and they've had all their success just because they outworked everybody. They're a fucking liar. I've never met anyone in my life who didn't have at least one person, and if it weren't for that person giving them a chance, an opportunity, mentoring them, telling them to shut the fuck up, which I'm about to do, they wouldn't be where they're at. So it's just been a mix.